What is up, guys? So yes, I am finally breaking down the Grand Theft Auto 5 gameplay. A little late, yes, I know, but hopefully you all still enjoy, and yes, let's get started. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, so get comfortable and let's see how we go. Sorry, a bit of background noise there. So you've probably already seen a few of these breakdown trailers, I would imagine, if you're that interested in Grand Theft Auto 5. First of all, here we have the first image of what looks like the main part of the city. Los Santos, sorry. So we've seen this before in a few screenshots. As we can see there, the main bank building, dead center in the middle, just to the left of what looks like a blimp. Also, the kind of I found iconic building on the right there with the crane on the top also seems pretty popular to me. It's fairly noticeable because it's like still under construction, so that'll be interesting to see whether that actually progresses through the game, whether or not construction like it gets built by the end of the game. That'll be something interesting, to see new houses arise as well. Just a few ideas. Anyway, let's get moving on.
With Grand Theft Auto 5.
Alright, so this next shot here is of the bank building that we just saw, and basically the helicopter here looks like the Annihilator off Grand Theft Auto 4, for those of you that have seen or played Grand Theft Auto 4, which I'd say most of you have. It looks like the Annihilator. There's the main bank building, obviously with a helipad on top, and yeah, nothing really else that interesting there. Alright, this next one here is actually quite interesting. To me, this boat here reminds me of all the large cargo ships that I saw on all of the previous Grand Theft Autos that we could always see and probably get on, but not necessarily do anything with. Like, I remember in Grand Theft Auto 3 at the docks, there was a large boat there. Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I believe there was also one. But in this we can see, what do we see? That looks like that yellow bit there. I'm not sure whether that looks like a submarine of some sort. It's got the same colour as the screenshot submarines that we saw. It's kind of hard to tell, but as we can see here, we've got the snorkeling gear on, the gas tank, the flippers. We've got the whole lot here, probably on a treasure hunt or something like that, or it could be something to do with a heist.
Reimagine the open world.
Alright, so this shot here is I actually love this shot right here. Gives you a really good idea of what the wilderness will look like. This is more of Trevor's country. So as you can see, we've got the trailer parks. We've got two guys on motorbikes, which look to be like Harleys. So this could have something to do with the Lost and the Damned, whether or not they're related to Trevor in some way. Just throwing ideas out there. But yes, another beautiful view of the country we're going to be experiencing in Grand Theft Auto 5. Alright, so here we get the first actual gameplay of playing inside of an aeroplane. So as you can see on the HUD, we also see the HUD for the first time here. Sorry, I forgot to mention. We've got the altimeter, which basically gives you a height compared to ground level, which we did have on Grand Theft Auto 4 as well, I remember. We have the health bar, which is the green bar. We have the blue bar, which I believe is armor. And we also have the special ability bar, which I believe is the yellow one. I'm not going to confirm that for sure, but I do believe that yes, it is the special ability one. Okay. Anything else to note here is we've got some lens flare, which looks absolutely amazing. We can even see the shadow and the reflection of the plane on the water, which just looks awesome. And as we go over the hill here, we will see Los Santos. So yeah, actually I'm going to go back just a fraction there. Actually, yeah, and as we also see here, we see the track on the left, and looks like a lot of fun to ride. I can see myself getting on a dirt bike, riding up that track and doing a backflip into the dam. Also to note is the font in the bottom right, basically describing your location. It's not something new we have seen. We've seen it in all the previous Grand Theft Autos, but just something to note there. Maybe the font that they're going to use for this game in particular. Alright, so here we see the first gameplay in a boat, which is Trevor driving a boat, and that bridge there is actually quite iconic. We see it a fair bit later on in the gameplay. We've seen it in a few screenshots, and yeah, a very, very nice bridge.
A sprawling satirical.
Alright, so this is our first shot at night. We see basically Los Santos lit up at night. We see the new looking taxi, very different from the Grand Theft Auto 4 one, a lot squarer, similar to that of Grand Theft Auto 3. We see a muscle car here on the right, possibly customized. And I've heard there are 3 buildings there in the back, if you can see them, are actually replicas of real buildings inside of Los Angeles, I believe.
Modern Southern California.
Alright, so this next one here is basically one of the back water alleys, I'm going to call it. I forget what the real name for it is. But yeah, we can see that there's a boat driving along. So does this mean that there's going to be small water accessible areas throughout the entire city? I'm not too sure. I probably doubt in the city, but out in the suburban area, then yes, it looks like there will be. Oh, sorry, also to note there on that previous screenshot was the bank building we can see in the middle to give you a rough idea of where we actually are in the map. If you can relate that around, then it gives you a good idea to where we actually are. Alright, so this shot here is possibly one of my favorites. It basically shows us a rough size of just a fraction of the map. We see this large mountain, which I'm not sure is Mount Chiliad. I am not 100% sure. But we see a little hut or shack on top, which looks like it's going to be a iconic spot for everyone to try and reach, like whether or not we're going to be able to drive up there, or maybe hiking is going to be the only way, or flying, obviously, if we have a plane. It'll be interesting to see what stage in the game we're actually able to access helicopters, planes, certain cars, that kind of thing. That's one thing I am really looking forward to.
Mountains and oceans.
Alright, so this next shot here is Michael walking into what looks like a really posh clothing shop. We see a few bystanders walking along doing their thing. They look like they fit in that area, not too underclass. We can't see any people with like trackies and a hoodie on, although that guy does have a hoodie, my bad. And obviously Rockstar's genius way of ripping off real companies by using a similar name.
Strip malls.
Okay, next screenshot here. Sorry, go back a fraction. We have Trevor driving around in what looks like his hometown area. We have him in his iconic full drive, so this looks like it actually is Trevor's car, and it will be throughout the game. Not sure what will happen if it blows up, whether or not it just gets repaired or something like that, which we have heard from Rockstar that if a car does blow up, so say you have a customized car that you put a lot of time and effort into, and you just go out and roll it off a cliff, I believe you're going to be able to go to a car repo person and get it restored, I believe. That's just what I've heard, but I believe it is true information. We see what do we see? That mountain on the far right. It's hard to kind of go off just talking, but on the right of that sign up the end there, I believe that's maybe the mountain we saw before, or it's the one on the left. It's kind of hard to tell. But have a look at the HUD now, the minimap. It's kind of turned into what looks like a GPS. It's kind of on an angle, and we can see it's changed just because he's in a car now. So that's interesting. Alright, next we have the homeless area of the game. So basically this is where all the bums are going to hang out. It's fairly interesting. I'm not sure whether or not there's going to be more of these, or whether this is just basically the location throughout the entire game where all the bums are going to hang out will be something fairly interesting, but there's not really a lot else to note in this particular shot.
Okay, an untouched wilderness.
Quick note on the deers is basically, yes, there is wildlife. We heard that we will be able to hunt and be hunted, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of animals they're talking about when they say we can be hunted. I'm not exactly sure what to expect, whether it's going to be bears or tiger. Oh, I can't see a tiger. I just thought of a zoo getting broken open in the middle of Los Santos and all these tigers running around and eating people. Just imagine how funny that would be. This is an awesome screenshot, possibly one of my favourite parts of the gameplay. We see the beach, we see that jet skis are available, we see the bank building there on the left, so we get an idea of where we are. We see a bridge over on the far right. We get an idea of how big this map is. Like, look how far away those skyscrapers look. And the graphics as well, like you can see the water detail has greatly improved since the previous Grand Theft Auto. Just absolutely amazing.
Beaches and backwoods.
Alright, so here is definitely going to be the first thing I'm going to be doing on Grand Theft Auto when I get it. I'm going to get a quad or a dirt bike, and I'm going to go riding up in the hills with my mates on multiplayer. Just looks like a lot of fun. Again, the water detail there looks fantastic. And if you look over the other side of the river, hint guys, make sure you're watching this in 720. Look over over the other side of the river, and I believe I can see a deer and people. If you can see them too, or if you think it's something different, leave a comment below and let me know. But that's what it looks like to me.
The sublime and the ridiculous.
All right, so here we have two people in suits dressed up as, I believe that's Master Chief of Halo on the right or on the left. I'm not too sure. I don't play Halo. We have people videoing it with their phones, which we've heard is going to come back. Like if you fight someone, people might video it, not just call the cops, which is actually really interesting. I'm not exactly what to expect from this. Like, is this Rockstar just playing a prank on everyone, or is it something we're going to be seeing more of? I'm not too sure.
Greed and hypocrisy.
Another thing they said during the gameplay was people will fit to their, basically, like their socio-economical status, which is basically, look at this, we see a fancy building with like skyscrapers around, we see people in suits. It makes sense that they're going to be working in these tall buildings. It's just something that they've made Grand Theft Auto look more lifelike. Alright, and moving on. So I'm not going to pause it here, there's not much to note, except basically this is Franklin's boss. Basically, they are car repossession people. Franklin goes out and gets cars off people that can't afford to pay for them, and that is his boss, who has awarded himself Employee of the Month, which is a nice little joke. Alright, I have just started, so this could be long, guys. I'm actually not going to pause it there. We see the three characters and a fourth guy on the right, and yes. Alright, that shot there, we see the three main characters, and we see a cop car about to explode in the background. Also, what's interesting here is we did see a screenshot of the three characters in, I think it was monkey masks, and they were doing, I believe it was a heist, and they were wearing these similar suits, similar clothing, so maybe this was just after that screenshot or before, hard to tell, but anyway, awesome gameplay yet again.
Features not one, but three would-be heroes.
I'm going to pause it here again just so we see them from the front and we can get an idea of where we are on the map, as we see the bank building there in the background and then one that looks like it's under construction, which is a fair distance away. So it looks like the beach could be on the other side, so to the very left of this screenshot or to the very right.
Michael, a once successful bank robber, and now less successful.
I'm not going to pause it there because Michael's just sitting on the couch, nothing really interesting. Alright, here we have Michael's, what looks like Michael, his son, his wife, and either her yoga instructor or her yoga client, one of the two. And yeah, not much else to note there. Whether or not Michael and his son have a good relationship is going to be something interesting that'll have to fold out. Alright, so here, yes, this is the best screenshot, best piece of gameplay, sorry. This is Franklin with his homies. Welcome back. So anyone that's played San Andreas, welcome back. But that's basically what they're saying. 88, which was the crew, the gang, sorry, in San Andreas. Basically, the green color represents that gang, which was the same in San Andreas. And we see Michael walking down the street here with his homies, and here we go. Here is Chop. Yes, Franklin's dog. Whether or not this is going to be, well, I'm not too sure how this is going to work with your dog. Like, I can't see you leading the dog into a giant gunfight because I don't know. Whether or not Chop can die, this will be something interesting as well. Whether or not there's going to be more pets, it's kind of hard to tell. But the fact that he's following Franklin down the road is a good sign.
Can't repo the assets of a dead man, big sitting cheap asshole.
And then there's Trevor.
Alright, so here is a typical screenshot of basically how to describe Trevor. A badass redneck that's trying to kick a human leg, I believe, down the toilet as if it's going to fit Trevor. I don't know what he was thinking, but another great piece of gameplay. Okay, so let's keep going. I know we're not even halfway through and it's already been 15 minutes, so I'm not sure how long this is going to be, guys. I apologise if it's a bit longer, but I'm trying to do it as in-depth as I can. Alright, this is a really good screenshot. We get another idea of the city. Basically, we see the blimp in the background there, for those of you that haven't spotted that. The bank building right there, and the one that looks like it's under construction. So we get another idea of where we are in the city. Also to note is the helicopter there, whether or not that's a new model. I believe it is because it has the circular blade in the back. And also the little black dot up the top of what looks like the bank building there. Not sure what that is. It's another helicopter, I believe.
Interwoven story and the structure of individual missions. Players can cut.
Alright, so as we just saw there, this gameplay is on PS3. We saw the controls there, which look basically the same as the PS3 one. And also we see here Michael ripping out his gun, going in a heist. This is really interesting because I'm guessing this is a mission so that this window that he just broke into was one of thousands of one out of 1,000 windows that you could actually break, because I don't believe you're going to be able to go and whatever it's called, parasail down the side of each building and kick in the windows. I just can't see that happening, especially not on this generation of console. Anyway, fairly interesting.
Vantage points.
Yeah, I can use a little backup here.
And from one high octane.
The thing to note here would be the stats on the right. We can see as we swap from each character that there are stats. Also, it looks like that there are color coordinated. So Michael's blue, Franklin is green, and I believe Trevor is yellow. We'll see that later on.
To another.
What looks like a bolt action sniper. The guns also look like they have a lot more detail in this game compared to the rest of what we have seen. So that's another good thing to note.
This helps to give missions
Better detail in anything always is better.
intensity.
Some air combat there. I'm going to skip that. Alright, so here I've just talked about recently in one of my recent videos. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to go and have a look. Being able to buy drugs in Grand Theft Auto 5, like I said, go check out my video, but still questionable. Pipe shop there, so it's basically signifying that yes, they sell probably drugs and the bongs or pipes you would use to have those drugs. Yes, really awesome. And the way that he just walks into this street,
When not on
and
mission,
basically everyone looks like they should be here. They're in either swimming suits or something like that. Just looks absolutely awesome.
jump in at any moment and find out what your new friends have been up to as they go about their.
Alright, so here we see, I believe this is Michael and his son. Michael's car there, Michael's house. Two interesting thing to note here is Michael was in an argument earlier with his son, so whether or not their relationship is constantly on and off, or however it is, it's going to be quite interesting to find out. Also, whether or not Michael's going to be able to move house because he has a family. It'll be interesting to see how they adapt to how many houses there are. Like, we already know we're going to be able to buy real estate, but how it's going to affect each character will be the interesting thing that we'll have to find out.
Theirs.
Jeez, Pop. Too much more of that, and maybe I won't be dead by 35.
I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, just because my laptop will take 5 hours to render anything over 10 minutes, so bear with me, guys. Alright, so here we see Trevor in his badass full drive, escaping the cops. He's got 5 stars. We get a rough idea of how much the cops are going to throw at us. We have a few cop cars, we have SUVs, we have 2 helicopters. We can't even see outside the mini-maps, like red and blue flashing lights, so it'll be interesting to see how we would get away from cops on 5 stars. Whether or not we're going to have to get in a plane or something like that will be fairly interesting. To note here is Trevor's special bar is full, just another thing to point out. So as we can see, 2 helicopters. Also the destruction we just saw there on the fence was quite interesting. Alright, so this is really, really, really awesome. This screenshot here says a lot. It shows us... It's hard to say what mountain is Chiliad. I believe it's the bigger one on the right that we can barely see. We see the plane flying up there, so and we see 2 jet streams. If you look between the 2 mountains, they look like there's 2 jet streams that kind of intersect with each other. Air traffic is something that will be interesting to find out. How much planes are going to be flying around and helicopters? Are we going to be able to hijack planes in midair, like the Dark Knight when The Dark Knight Rises, when Bane basically hijacks a plane with another plane. Can we do that kind of thing? I'm not too sure, but we can see some dirt tracks there on the right looking down onto the lake. And also to note is this bridge was actually the bridge we saw when we first saw Trevor driving the boat earlier. He was actually on the left of this bridge here, and this was the bridge he was looking up. So I believe that is Chiliad on the right. But if you look over and see where the plane is, and you see the mountain on the far left, like the one further away, you can see a small little thing on the top, which I believe is the shack that we saw in the screenshot before, where we had a bird's eye view of the mountain. So I believe that's where that mountain is, over there with that shack on top. And that gives you a rough idea of how big this map is. This map is like, it's bigger than Grand Theft Auto 4 plus Red Dead Redemption plus San Andreas together. So I can't even describe how awesome that is. Car customization. I was going to do a video individually about car and weapon customization. Actually, I'm not sure if I did. I think I actually did. I'm not too sure. But anyway, car customization is back. We see there's a lot of different paints there, a lot of different wheels. It's going to be really big in this game. It's going to affect a lot of things. We're going to have to car customize to fit certain heists. Absolutely awesome, and I cannot wait. Drifting, that'll be interesting, how the handling arrives. Another awesome screenshot here. We see the train that we saw in one of the trailers where Trevor crashes a train into a train. I believe that is the same location there. We've seen a few screenshots here, and obviously another aeroplane that we haven't seen before. Clothing customization, a lot to say. There's going to be a lot of it. Golfing, not going to pause there. Yoga. Diving. Yes, diving is back, and it's awesome. Here is a good one to note. So we saw Trevor just there with his quad bike on the side and his RV. It'll be interesting to see if we can drive around his RV. Kind of a portable save spot is something that I have in mind. If you look down on the right there, we see what looks like the wind detection meter. So it gives us what way the wind is. Are we going to have to account for bullet drop in this game? Something I'm very keen to find out. I believe it'll be a good thing. It'll make the game a bit more challenging, especially if we're trying to do like a long-range assassin kill. Then I think bullet drop and wind will be a great idea, because at the moment using a sniper in Grand Theft Auto isn't really that fun, and it's definitely not challenging. So I would like to see bullet drop back in Grand Theft Auto 5. Alright, moving on. What do we got? Alright, so we've got Franklin out in what looks like Trevor's territory here. I'm actually going to pause it on one part here, see if I can get the right screenshot. Let's have a look. Alright, so here we actually see a boat being towed behind a car. This is actually going to be very, very amusing, I can imagine. So we did see this in San Andreas, and we have seen a generator being towed in a previous trailer. So being able to tow a boat, are we going to be able to take any car, just attach any kind of trailer to it and basically go? Are we going to be able to take that boat into the water, or is it only there for cosmetic purposes? I am not too sure, but I can see a lot of awesome car chases happening with boats and stuff towed behind. If you think of the movie Bad Boys 2, for those of you that have seen it, think of that movie and turn that into a video game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here we have Trevor doing a bounty hunt for this woman, as we can see on her computer here, what looks like the internet, and she's either set this up or something along those lines. Kind of interesting. She looks very redneck, and it looks like she'll be a lot of fun in the game. Alright, so here we get a really good look at combat. I'm actually going to stop it when Franklin brings up the weapon wheel so we get a better idea. Alright, so here we see the new weapon wheel that returns from Red Dead Redemption. We're not going to go with the whole swipe way of Grand Theft Auto 4 weapons. We're actually going to go with the big weapon wheel. Something that I agree with. I think the weapon wheel is a lot better. We can choose instantly instead of having to swipe through them. We can just go, alright, we want C4, now we want a shotgun. We're not going to have to go through pistols and assault rifles just to get what we want. Also, another thing to note here is the parachute in the bottom right and the customization we can see on the assault rifle, which is grip and extended magazine.
To make every aspect
Sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call and my recording actually stopped because I record with my phone. But anyway, getting back to it, we see some awesome driving here. Looks awesome. Shooting range looks awesome. Tennis looks awesome. Riding looks awesome. And parachuting looks awesome. So here we see a shot of what looks like Franklin parachuting down of the mountain that we saw from a bird's eye view earlier on. It looks like that because we see the same kind of area down straight ahead from now, but it was on the right before. So something to keep in mind. Also keep this shot in your head, as there is a like a new piece of information we see before that relates directly to this. Nice colourful parachute. Alright, 3 characters there with their typical vehicles. No biggie. Alright, something awesome here is the destruction. So whether or not this destruction is going to be a big thing in the game, or whether it's only going to be for cinematic purposes like this one, so say if there's a mission just like this, will that be the only time that this kind of destruction plays a role, or are we going to be able to just go crash into a glass window or a brick wall anywhere we like? Something to think about. Although the destruction there does look awesome, especially for a game this size. Alright, so this is an interesting thing to note here. If we have a look on the back wall there, we see exactly what looks like the area that Franklin was parachuting in just a second ago. It looks like that because we see a big green area, which could be the mountain. We see the area, which was the town. We see water on the other side, and we have Plan A, which looks like a boat to come in from, which we saw a jetty out there. Makes a lot of sense. So we have Plan A, or we have Plan B, which looks like parachuting down from the mountain. So what Franklin was actually doing could have been part of the heist. Also, this guy here looks like some kind of computer mechanic or engineer, so he could be the brains behind the heists or something like that. And yeah, a really interesting and informational screenshot. Now, Rockstar's whole new setting here, I'm not going to pause. Actually, no, I will pause. 1 second. You're going to be able to set up your own heists. You're going to be able to choose who you want to work with, what perks they want, how much of a cut they will get, everything like that. It's going to be absolutely amazing, but not much I can really say about that. So you can go in stealthily by using gas, knock everyone out, walk in, do it silently. Alright, here. Have a look here. Have a look at how much money he has. Now go back about 3 seconds and have a look how much he had. He went from 0 to about $99,000 with 1 grab of jewelry. That is a fuckload of money for like a handful of jewelry. Whether or not that's just, say we're playing as Michael, whether or not that's just Michael's pick, or whether that's everyone all together, what they've got so far, which would make more sense to me. But as we can see, money probably won't be an issue in this, although I'm thinking if car customization gets expensive, buying property, that kind of thing, it's going to actually all add up. So another awesome thing to note there. Here we see the exact same job, but happening a bit more proud and loud, with the guns out, everyone get on the floor, hands down, all that kind of thing. Alright, so tattoos, body personalization. Something to note here is, will tattoos be permanent? Obviously they are in real life, but if we get a tattoo, are we not going to be able to remove it unless we start a new game? Something interesting to wonder about, because that'll be kind of, say if you make a decision at the beginning of the game that you want a tattoo, will that affect maybe, I don't know, if you get a tattoo that's against, say, the Lost in the Dam, like the bikie club, and they see that when you're walking down, will they just attack you? Will tattoos simplify things like your gang? Well, they did in San Andreas, I believe, so it'll be good to see that return. A freaking awesome car race there. We've got stocks and we've got real estate, so I'll just pause it here. So we can buy property, we can sell property, we can buy stocks, all that kind of thing. And the last thing to note here is I can count 16 people on the screen when we move up a bit further as well. But there is one there that says Dev 18, so it's kind of interesting. Is there going to be 18 players online or 16? We also have money up the top right, which is something very interesting. Why do we have money in multiplayer? Are we going, this person here is in an apartment. Are we going to be able to buy property in multiplayer? and is it going to be more like an MMO than it is a free mode, fuck around with your friends kind of thing. Something very, very interesting to wonder about. Also, there's no special bar on the HUD here. There's literally just armor and health, so special abilities won't carry over because they're character specific. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. That's about it. There's a fucking awesome jet that flies past just here at the end. Jets in multiplayer, enough said. You should be happy enough that the game is even coming out, but Jets in multiplayer does it all. If you enjoyed the video, guys, which I hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps. This video took, I don't know, like half an hour to do, so that would be really appreciated. Comment what you're most excited for in Grand Theft Auto 5. Also comment anything that I might have missed out on that you picked up. I always like finding new information, and also make sure to subscribe, as I'll cover Grand Theft Auto 5 to the max as much as I can. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all.